Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is the next webinar. It's not a part of the series, it's just standalone webinar, and it's devoted to new version of Rapise version 6.2, and we are going to cover some things that were introduced in this version and that are worth to pay attention to. My name is Alexey Grinevich. I'm developer of Rapise, and let's first have a brief overview of what you're going to listen to today. So we will quickly go through major features of Rapise. It's just a reminder what Rapise has. And then we will focus on three new things that are worth mentioning. First is self-healing or auto-recovery. Next is auto reconnection, and last one is massive relearn. All these new features are devoted to test maintenance, and we assume that it is a major benefit of Rapise, and it's the strongest part of it, and we devote our attention to make maintenance as easy as possible. One additional note is this webinar today is intended for advanced auditory for existing Rapise users. We are not going to cover from basics. We're going to talk to those who already did some automation with Rapise, who already hit some troubles and know how it is sometimes hard to do something. For those who will are ready to understand what we did in this release, because again, maintenance is something that happens after you have some test automation in place. And so you already are able to do automation, but you need additional features to make this automation easier. So first feature is self-healing in Rapise. This is, we call it sometimes AI-based, sometimes just self-healing. This is because of a long story behind how this feature were introduced. We did major research. We are monitoring over 500 different public web resources every day and see what changes are happening to those websites. This is sites like Amazon, like Mozilla, like Salesforce, Gmail. So these files are getting updated daily. We monitor these updates and we collect information about what usually changes on the website. The goal of this monitoring is to figure out what are particular things that need to be addressed to make the tests keep working when the site is modified. Because this modification is something you hardly will notice with your eye, but they are happening in the background. They break automated tests while they doesn't affect, for example, manual tests. So since we want automated tests be as easy as manual test and as reliable as manual tests in the future. So we work in this direction and we're trying to figure out the details here. So we compute this information and we have special algorithm that is extracting minimal changes and trains our self-healing algorithm to apply best practices. And this mini algorithms is embedded into Rapise and it works as self-healing. Now, let me demonstrate this feature. This is a mobile device. We will go to it later. For now, let me create a new test for web application. I'm creating just a local test, and it is library information system login. It's going to be a web test. I'm going to use Firefox HTML. So this is what you probably have seen a lot of times, because this is what we are currently already always demonstrating. So this library information system has two versions, actually three versions. One is old version, which is written in ASM.NET over 10 years ago. So it's a very old style. Then new version, which is written using Angular framework, and one more version using React framework. So the feature we are going to use today is the situation we are going to assume today is we have this Angular website, and we are going to record a test for it. And then we are going to use automatic recognition in self-healing to recover this test and let it work with a React version using automatic self-healing. So I'm ready to start recording web test, but if my goal is to use self-healing, then I need to do some initial preparations. I'm going to visit Rapise documentation. For example, let me search for healing. And it says what I need to do to have self-healing in place. So I need to put this piece into my test to enable a special mode of recording that adds special information to recorded objects, so they are able to recover when application changes. So now I'm all set, and I'm going just to do a regular recording. Hit record. Recorder starts doing very basic things. Type username, type password, hit login, hit logout, and finish. So we have a test. Let's just play it to make sure it works as expected. So we have a test that works. Everything is green. Now we want to switch to different version of the application. So with Rapise, it's easy to do. All I need to do is to explicitly navigate before doing first action. Navigator, open, and here I need to use URL from the React version. Here is the URL. Paste it here, and that's it. So when I play the test now, it will first navigate to React version and then try to play. Let's do it. What's going on? Sorry. So we have React navigation, maybe. Let's try again. So it tries to find login object. It doesn't find it. Okay. So it doesn't move on because it didn't find username object. And it says that it found some username object with probability 92%, which is very close. But by default, AI has a threshold on what probability to use to assume the object is the same. And default threshold is 95%, so 92 is less. We may address to the same article we used and to find a solution for this use case. So we may adjust this value confidence to set the threshold to some more reasonable value of this particular website. So I'm going to use, for example, let me use 50%, just to make it very tolerant and try to find whatever is findable. Now, let me play it again. So username is now found, password is found, logout is found, and that's it. So after execution is done, you see the test worked end to end. All objects were somehow recovered. It was React version, or not the same version as we used for recording. It asks us, it says that some objects has been modified, so they were recognized during playback, and it suggests me to show what has changed in the test. So these three objects has been modified. I may compare what has changed. Usually it's XPath is the most important thing. So I need to look at it. So in each case, XPath is different. And in case of logout, it's very different, but still it's fine. So what I may do, I may just ignore this dialog and close if I want my test to stay as this, or I may use copy all to destination to update definitions of the objects to work with new website. This is what I'm going to do. After pressing copy all to destination, all red lines gone. So all objects are now exactly matching. So, and my test has been recovered. Now I may see what was the confidence for finding each particular object. For example, for the username, I may expand it. So I see confidence is 92%. This is more detailed information of what were the matching or non-matching parts of the healing algorithm, and images of the old object, the object were captured during recording, and new objects that were found with self-healing process. So it's very detailed information. And now my test is also is okay. So it has been recovered. So if I just play it again, it will play even quicker, and it will not do any recovery because everything has been already recovered. So recovery is something that may be done only once. Or if you don't care, you may just do recovery every time if you see that self-healing works well in your situation. So I will hope that this will you will find this useful. So just again, reminder, don't forget to set this test prepare according to the topic about self-healing that you may find in the documentation. And once it is set, you record your web test, and then you may use self-healing. You may adjust this confidence if something doesn't work, and you may. We hope you will find this helpful for your situation. Okay, next topic is a maintenance mode in the web spy. Here's what's happening. We have a number of objects here on the web object, and before when we used a spy, we needed to get this XPath to find out if something is still findable or not. With new version of Rapise, if we hit a web spy, you can see that object tree is also displayed here. So I may either click on any of these objects. You see it has this red icon, disappointed face. This means that object is not found on the screen. I may just do it one by one, or I may just double click on the window title, and you see it tried to find all objects. Also, you may see that all objects are found because the test is recovered, and logout is not found simply because we are not logged in. So this is reasonable at this point of view. Sometimes we call this maintenance mode because it's a quick way to fix the test to work when many objects need some treatments, need some relearn, and you want to quickly fix them with application change. So in some cases, self-healing is not appropriate. Some changes are more dramatic, or you simply want to do it manually. Now it's also a very quick process. For example, let me go to this old version of the application, to the login screen. Let me get snapshot. I still have the same object tree, but I'm going to check it against this version of the application. So let me check login, login not found, logout not found, double click, everything is not found. However, when I select an object here, such as logout, what I have is this relearn button on the toolbar. And this is a way to quickly relearn something when I have it located. So I just needed to select it in the object tree. Quickest way to find something in the object tree is to first find it on the screen. So for example, I want to fix username to work with this version of the application. So select username, now press drag or Control T. Find this username here, drag again. You see it's selected in the tree. Now just hit relearn, and username is green now. Window title has also changed, but this is because older application had different title. But this is the same object, and it has been recovered for this version of application. Now I may just quickly do the same for other objects. So hit password, hit Control T, hit the field, press relearn. For login, hit Control T, hit Control T, hit relearn. So this also fixed. For logout, I need to log in. So probably what I want to do, since I fixed a part of the test, let me simply change my test, let it break, and then fix. So I updated the start URL to use old version of application, playing it. Just did login, and now it's going to fail. Self-healing found a wrong object, you see? That's why I want to, because I set very low tolerance, I'm going to say no. I don't think it did a great job. I'm going to do back, and I'm going to fix my test. So I'm going to launch Web Spy. So I'm in locked in state. Spy starts in the maintenance mode, and maintenance mode will help me to easily relearn the object. Where is it? Here it is. So logout is not found. Control T, relearn logout, and that's it. It's all fixed. So now I may just play the test and make sure it works with yet another version of the application. So I hope you get the idea. So we tried to make this kind of activity when you fix your test that needs fix due to application changes. So we want to make this activity to be really fast and convenient. Next topic. So the same is true for mobile spy. And this is what I need this Android device for. So this is Android emulator. And I'm going to do some mobile test. Create locally. Just call it mobile. Choose type mobile. And I have a profile for my application and for this device created earlier. So it's going to be RL script. So now I may record some test. So what I may do, I may use, not web spies. It's mobile spy. So get snapshot. Just let me check if I have, yes, Appium is running, so snapshot should work shortly. So you see how much time it sometimes takes to connect. It's really time-consuming process. So, and this explains why we have these maintenance mode features. We want you to be able to do many things with application while still connected to the same Android session. So you don't need to do this reconnection. Also, this kind of connection, like we have right now, it starts an application and it starts it on the default screen. So if I have an object that I need to, for example, relearn, and this object is on some other screen, this reconnection will move you back to initial screen, and you will need to repeat the steps to get to your object location manually before you are able to do any meaningful activities. So this is what we try to avoid. Let me do some kind of test. So log in. I'm going to first of all change this title. So by default, all mobile objects were recorded to window called device. Now we may specify which window to use, since in many cases Android applications don't have explicit window like we have in desktop. Here we have Rapise spy or something else. So screens sometimes are anonymous in Rapise, and we have to give them some names. So I want to do it. So in this case, let me call it main screen. So login button, let me tap it. Okay, I just tapped the login button. You see, I have some action recorded. Since the name for this button were not recognized, let me better give it a name. Login link, for example. So here I want to, for example, click here to the input field. And now I want to type some text. So username is Alexei. I forgot to change the screen name. Anyway, that's okay. Let me finish. You see what happened? When I finished recording, the spy disconnected from the device, and device automatically closed the application. Oh, so, and this is what I want to avoid. This is what I'm going to fix right now. So this is because Appium is closing the session. This is because how it is designed. So if I play this test now, it will again execute. You see how much time it takes to connect. It will execute. Find login, tap on it. Find username, tap on it. And you see application is closed. What I want to do, I want to have application in that state and finish this test scenario. I want to record, type on password, hit on login button, but I will have to do it starting from login. Now let me use new features. So I'm going to the documentation site again, and let me find corresponding topic, Reconnect mobile session. What I need to do is to again go to JavaScript and add a couple of statements there. So for test finish, I just need to paste this. So it says save session. This means don't close Appium, don't close application, just stay connected, I will reuse this later. And here I'm asking it to create new session only if no active session is available. Again, if some already connected, don't close application, don't start application from scratch, don't go to initial screen, just connect to it in whatever state it is now. We want to work with it. That's it. So if I now play, where is my device? Let's see what will happen. So it starts application because no active session, it has not been yet saved. It will hit log. Hello. Okay, that was some bad session. So we connected to device, we opened it, and we typed the text in the username. And application is now in the same state. So for example, I may change this text with tennis and use play selection. You see? And it plays just this statement with just the same session. So I may work with this test in smaller steps in statement mode. So without all these time-consuming things like connecting to session, disconnecting, cleaning it, and so on. So it's not in more maintainable mode. Now I want to launch the spy. In this case, web spy is the same as mobile spy. And what I want to do, you see, I'm in maintenance mode. I have this object tree. I want to add some more recording here. So for example, I want to add password. I want to tap on it. But I have it recorded. Now I want to type some text. Secret. And send text to password. So I need to select an item and send keys. Okay, I have one more action recorded. Finally, I need to hit login. So I selected it and doing tap. Okay, login done. Probably final step is to return to initial state. Again, I may do it right now, or let me finish recording. For example, I forgot to do this. My application is in this state, and application is test is stuck because something is missing. I may again let me append latest recordings here. Let me run the spy, attaching to the same application in the same state, and I may proceed my recording. Also, I may check availability of different objects, right? The same way as I did it for mobile, for web sessions. Also, I'm doing the same for different windows, so either on per object basis or on per window basis. And finally, what I can also do, since I forgot to set window name here, I may set it right here. So these are widgets from the login screen. So I'm removing them and grouping right here. Also, this username, not from here, it's from the login screen. So now I may make sure that login screen is okay. So when I double click, you may see that it highlights an object one after another. Also, I may use Relearn if I select object here. If it's not found, like here, again, I need to select it here in the tree, and then there will be a Relearn object link, just like with WebSpy. And finally, I'm going to learn one more object to return back. So I'm selecting this back button. I'm going to tap on it. And I'm going to say it's back to change its name. And that's it. I'm doing finish. So you see application is now back on the start screen. What I may do, I may just play part of any part of the test or play it in chunks. So let me change it to, for example, change username and play just part of application. So go to login screen and type a username before typing the password. Play selection. Since application in the right place, so it's able to find all related objects. Login, do click, and how about this? Yeah, this worked. So something wrong with my selection. Okay, let me then click and type username. You see, I may play it in chunks, and I may, for example, play from here to play the rest of the script. So enter password, do login, and go back. So you see, this new maintenance mode allows me to keep application running, to save time from reconnecting, to quickly learn broken objects, to quickly see what objects are available, are not available on the screen. And this is without spending time on reconnection. Now I'm going to, so suppose I'm done, my test is okay. I want to have it working as before. So I don't want to save session in the end. And I want to clear all open sessions if for some purpose they are here. So in this mode, if I play it, it will work just as before. So it forcibly closes all sessions. Then it starts new one and plays the test with this session. Something's wrong. Hit login. Type username, type password, login. That's it. You see, in the end, application has been closed. So this is default behavior. Once I need to do maintenance, I need to remove this, command this, and I'm ready to go. This is all described in the documentation. So if you go to Rapise doc, search, for example, for Reconnect, you will find corresponding topic with examples of what I need to use. So basically, that's all I wanted to show you today. So I wonder if any of you has questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the question sections, and we will go over your questions right now. And while you are thinking about your questions, I'm just going to briefly tell that the same is true for the case where you want to test mobile application, web applications through mobile device. So again, we use Appium in this case, and you will have a web spy with the maintenance mode, with Relearn, with possibility to save session, to connect to existing session, as well as you may do the same with just Selenium targets With Selenium targets, you will need to use the same approach, except that you will need to use WebDriver save session and WebDriver reconnect session. Exactly the same API, but with WebDriver. The rest is the same, and it will work just like here. And I just found the reason why it was showing login, restarting application 2 times, because I need to remove this line, says connect mobile. It's so when I add Appium driver save session and Appium driver reconnect session, I don't need this line anymore. In this case, it will connect just once and play quicker. So this is the end of my planned talk. I'm asking, do we have any questions, Dennis?
Yes, we do have a question. First, thank you for interesting and very clear presentation today. I hope it was useful for everyone. We've got a question. Here it is. If we change the name of the field, for example, change field username to a new name, login, can Rapise relearn this field with a new name? So when you, I understand this is when you relearn an object, can Rapise update the name of the object?
Okay, I got your question. So the name is something as that we assume to be an identifier. So it's recommended to change object name. For example, we have login button. By default, if you just learn login button, it will be learned as text1 because it has this ID, and usually during the learn we use this name. Then when we have an object, we have a script, and this script refers to that object using its ID. So it's not just name, it's its ID. So when do relearn, we keep this ID. However, if you think it's not relevant anymore and you don't like the name, you want to change it, recommended approach is you do relearn as before, but then in the script you find this object, right click on it and rename it right from here, from RVL. In this case, the object will be relearned both in the script and in the object tree. So this is the recommended way of doing relearn. Another recommended way, so if you're just recording, and this is first time you do recording, so for example, we record the object buttons, like tap on it. So we have it recorded, and you see it's again has name text1. This is due to internal structure of the application. So so it's recommended to give it meaningful name right here. Just when we record. That's why we recommend you to look how your actions has been recorded and change it right here. After that, after you append it here, you see it's using this ID. For example, I still want to change it, then I may rename buttons label. So now it's renamed here in the script and also renamed here in the object tree. Are there any other questions?
Thank you for the answer. Yeah, we have one more question. You showed the mobile maintenance mode, and it looks like it is Android. Does Rapise can do the same for iOS devices?
Okay. Yeah, so this is straightforward. It may do exactly the same for iOS devices. We are not demonstrating iOS because Rapise itself runs on Windows, and demonstrating on iOS is harder. But since you will have Appium running on the remote device on Mac, because you will have to use Mac in case of iOS testing. All the same applies to iOS testing. You will have maintenance mode, you will have mass relearn, and you will have session keeper. So all the same. It's harder to demonstrate for me right now, but once you have Mac, you will have all these features implemented exactly in the same way.
Okay, great. So we have no more questions for today, so we can finalize. I want to remind everyone that this session was recorded, and the link to the recording will be sent to you a couple of days from now. So thank you, Alexei, for the presentation.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dennis.
everyone,
Thanks,
for
everyone.
attendance. Take care. Bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Good day.
Bye-bye.